Welcome back to the episode of Unranked Podcast. What we're going to be chatting about today. Obviously, Michigan will be off into the new year, so it's going to be digging in on the Lions today. They had a tough one on the road in Chicago this past weekend. Team's kind of sputtering right now here and there, just playing a little inconsistent through, I think kind of like a tough stretch of the season. Just want to kick it over to you, E, just see what your thoughts were and just how things kind of went down against the Bears.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was overall a tough loss. I think overall team riding high, fan base riding high. We have been sputtering, call it the last 4 weeks of the year, but finding ways to come out and win and pull out wins. Whether it was starting with the Bears, down, about a month ago, down 17 points late in the game, came back and won. Then I think it was Chargers got lit up, came back and won. Just finding ways to win. So I think heading into this week, we thought that was the theme of the team, and that did not happen. Just kind of defense looked pressed the whole game. Just really no pressure, sitting back, letting Justin Fields kind of do what he wanted. Really, when he wanted to take off, he took off when he wanted to, got yards. He stayed in the pocket, made plays from time to time in the pocket. Really made him look like a pretty solid quarterback. Some of those passes, I don't know. It was just tough to kind of watch from a Lions fan standpoint. And then as far as the offense goes, it's just Jared Goff. Is kind of a big question. I was going to pull the stats up here, but I don't want to misspeak. But I think it was over the last month of football or so. I got sent here recently, but yeah. So over the last 7 games, Jared Goff, 1,800 yards, 10 touchdowns, 7 picks, 6 fumbles.
Yeah.
And, that's just cannot happen. That's pretty much that's 13, just under 2 turnovers a game, one way or another. When you're going to do that and be, a little better than a game manager, that's just kneecapping the team. That's hurting everything overall. And I think we have weapons around, whether it's St. Brown, Porta, a pretty damn good backfield. Obviously the offensive line has been beat up, but they've been put together enough to make everything else work. And you cannot afford to turn the ball over as frequently as Jared Goff has. So that's just kind of how, what I would say, big picture, what I think is going wrong with the team and went wrong versus the Bears.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I I agree with that. It was tough, man, because like as bad as we played, we were still in it. Like literally, we're in it up until like the last minute of the third quarter, and like it was one of them games where I feel like both sides of the ball were just not helping each other out. I mean, I can point to like 6 to 7 different plays. Starting off, we had Fields. I think Hutch had him pretty much wrapped up right at their like goal line, and then he broke that tackle, ran for like 40. And then you fast forward to I believe the mid-second quarter. 3rd and 10, we're already down like 10 zip. We had already scored. We missed the extra point. Jahmyr Gibbs drops a touchdown, 3rd and 10, literally would have walked in, blockers set up and everything. I'm around St. Brown. We only had 3 catches for 21 yards. I watched him drop 4, and I think a couple of those were on, 2nd and long, or 3rd and short, to where he is usually, very sure-handed. And then, I don't want to get on our guy, but we had him dead to right. The game was tied. First quarter, end of the third quarter. Hutch, he jumps off sides in that 4th and 14. He also was the one that knifed in on that left side facing the offense when Fields just rolled out and just ran for like a 20-yard touchdown. Like Fields ran for like 60 yards, and it was on them 2 plays where Hutch just did not get him down to the ground. So I do feel like the defense to an extent, I mean, they're kind of holding their own, but what's happening is like you said, Jared Goff's turnovers. In that like third quarters, we just don't like Ben Johnson needs to start getting some of this criticism. Everybody wants to jump down Aaron Glenn's throat. I do feel like he's been doing a solid job of just like helping the defense weather the storm. Like we touched Fields a couple times. I think we had like 4 sacks. We were roughing him up pretty good. I mean, I saw him, they were showing him on the sideline, kind of feeling it a little bit. But that offense, man, I mean, throwing a ball 35 times, knowing that golf is, this is not really a strong suit being outside like that. As much as I just hate to say that, it's like just like the game of football, like playing outside. It just sounds crazy coming out of my mouth, but
Yeah.
that's just kind of really,
But it does sound crazy as a $35 million a year quarterback, but it is some truth to
yeah,
that. But
right.
no, overall, I think you're making great points. And I'm gonna let you keep going, but you tweeted something during the game about it's not Aaron Glenn's fault more or less for all these missed tackles,
Yeah,
and and there were we brought up Hutch, but there was countless just where
yes,
you could have got somebody off the field, stretch something from maybe a second and long to now they're breaking for it and running for first down and the extended
yeah,
play and just making the onslide happen that. So I think there's a lot of truth to that as well, where
yeah,
um, we're not the team. It just a lot of things aren't helping. We're not helping ourselves from multiple angles.
right.
Being too aggressive on offense, missed
Yep,
tackles on defense, um, occasionally throwing out the wrong situational defense. You're in a man, we should be in zone, vice versa. We're just finding ways to
mhm,
shoot ourselves in the foot at the wrong time. You know,
yep,
and to single out that I don't know how long that touchdown pass ended up being, but that's a perfect example where that's just a play that can't happen on a playoff type caliber team, a division team that aspires to win a division.
absolutely.
It's not going to jump off sides on a 4th and 13 when you realistically should be getting them off the field, no questions asked. You put your heels at 12 yards and you force everything else in front of you. And
Right.
but we were aggressive on the snap, and then lackadaisical on the back end touchdown. Then you look foolish at that. So
Yeah. Not
it was some tough moments in the game.
for sure. And I was even gonna say Alex Anzalone, I mean, that first drive, two, three missed tackles, the unnecessary roughness, hitting somebody out of bounds, just getting into it with the Bears bench.
Yeah.
This is like, team captain, maybe the best linebacker on the team, just coming out, that I say that like
No,
to where we got to start just kind of having some conversations just with him. I think I think the unfortunate thing about this game was a lot of our like dogs, right? St. Brown, Hutch, you know, um, just were not like a lot of guys just they weren't doing well, and I feel like it just kind of went through the entire team. You know, you got guys like Hutch missing tackles, Anzalone missing
yeah.
tackles. You got other,
And
these it starts just kind of
plays that Hutch gets him down, like you said,
yeah,
inside the 10, very close to the goal line.
change the
That
entire game.
inspires the team. Yeah, that
Yeah,
that's a big time moment. He's fired up. He probably you know plays that much harder the rest of the game. So
right.
those are plays that you have to capture, moments that you have to capture.
Yep.
That can be little building blocks on winning on the road in the divisional game. When
And
in
it's
in a playoff picture that 2-3 weeks ago looked way more brighter than it does now as far as winning the division goes, and that's a big one. You that's not even who's necessarily hunting you. You got the Vikings, you got sputting around, but might catch their footing again. Definitely weren't at one point they were sitting there out there like 2-5, 2-8, looking real bad.
yeah,
They found a way to
steal some
take the
victories.
ground on that, and then Green Bay, they're catching fire. They're looking good, winning week in and week out. So I think you know this is what have you done for me lately type of league, and
Yeah,
you got to keep winning because funny things can happen to box you out of situations that you thought you were would never happen.
right.
And so
Like you go from being, getting a home game to having to go out to, Philly or San Fran,
San Fran, yep,
divisional weekend, something like that. So yeah, I mean, I think, it was one of those things where it was just like domino effect pretty much. I mean, golf, Jamison Williams had them two corners beat and golf underthrew him by like 3 or 4 yards. Win probably caught the ball or something. They were like
yeah,
27-mile-an-hour winds. A lot going on, out there. But like I said, it's kind of tough, like that we just kind of look the way that we do, and I don't know, we did get Green Bay back, last year and end of the season, that type of stuff, but it just wasn't his day. And I just had a feeling, I was watching the press conference, Goff's press conference before the game this past week. I think every single question was about playing outside for him, and
Yeah,
now I understand why. You know what I'm like. It's like this is why. So yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, it's not 100% on him. Taylor Decker is getting his ass whooped. Has been getting
whooped. Thank
his
you
ass
for pointing.
whooped.
Actually, thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, for the last 4 weeks.
Sweat was going to town on him. Like it
There's a
was.
clip I don't even want to watch. Like he literally took Decker into golf, threw him off, and then literally was just took golf for a ride in a circle, and finally just brought him down to the ground. Like Decker is, I mean, come on, you know what I'm saying? Like this is probably supposed to be like a top three, top five O line in the league, and yeah, yeah. I mean, I was just kind of like speechless to some of the things I saw.
I
Coming.
agree, and not to shoot Jared Goff too much bail, but I mean, if you that's going to give you happy feet. You mentioned, your bet a guy that should be watching your blind sides getting annihilated. Your best
Yeah,
receiver drops a couple balls. You already got a pick maybe early in the game. That's going to be all things that are just kind of factors against you.
yep,
All week you've been asked about the weather. It is a little windy. I think, and those are all things that a playoff type quarterback should be able to overcome and just,
right.
and stomach. But it is something there. And so no, I agree. It's just the team. I'm ready for them to, you know, I mean, what are they? I don't want to look it up, but they've kind of see. Yeah. So like last four, you know, last 6 games, they're seven, one, two. Yeah. So last 7 games, they're 4-3. So I think just when we always talk about the segments of the season, that's starting to not look as good. 3-1 to start,
Right.
start, So you got to finish strong this next little chunk of games here. Some real couple of Division ones, real important ones. Cowboys, slack obviously, and now the Broncos. Those Broncos, I joked about it earlier, but they're heating up. They're different team than when we looked at through the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season when they got 70 dropped on them. We were feeling pretty good about this game later in the season. But this is a different squad now than what that was. And they're hot as far as their last month, 2 months of football. So,
Right. Yeah,
with them in the pipe here, you gotta put your best foot forward here. So
for sure. Yeah, and I think to say all what we said, I mean, I think it's easy to say. I mean, I'd probably say this is probably the second worst game we had this year behind that Ravens game, as far as just not really, just not showing up essentially. Packers game, Thanksgiving's probably up there too. But to say all that, we win these next 2 games, division champs. So I think that's one thing to just be able to look forward to. Shout out to the Giants and Tommy Cutlets. They were able to knock off the Packers and just make it a little difficult for them to not win the division or not make the playoffs. So that worked in our favor. Wish the Raiders could have scored more than could have scored. Period. Or they would have ended up beating the Vikings. They ended up losing that game 3-0. So yeah, like I said, I think it's gonna be one of them games. And kind of just turn the page, looking at the Broncos now. I think a lot of guys would be pissed off. I saw Hutch, our guy, was he had some tears in his eyes in the press conference after the game. So I just feel like no one is really understanding how he cost the team. I mean, he literally gave them 12 points by himself. The Bears 12 points by himself. So I do expect some guys to be very spirited, just intense. It's going to be back at home for the first time in 3 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. So I do think we're going to be putting our best foot forward here as we take on the Broncos on Saturday. Been looking, everybody and their mom is picking the Broncos to win. And I think I'll just say this: when it comes to the Broncos, I've looked at their schedule, and there's always I feel like you can always kind of like pull back the layers on things a little bit. You kind of look at the little bit of a run streak that they went on. They beat the Packers by 2 points, and the Packers were pretty much reeling at that time of the season. They beat Mahomes when he was, in 20-degree weather. He had the flu. They beat the Bills and they've been reeling. They've been the conversation of the last couple of weeks. They coach saying a whole bunch of wild shit. Um, beat the Vikings by a point. Beat the Browns by 17, and they don't have a quarterback. Lost to the Texans, and they beat the Chargers, who lost Justin Herbert. A quarter and a half into the game. So I know I'm rambling a little bit here, but yeah,
No.
just wanted to kick it over to you just to kind of talk about what you think about this matchup overall.
Yeah, no, man. I think those are all good points. Pulling out games though, and I think that's
Yeah.
just the
Right. Yeah.
mindset
Yeah.
we got to be in as far as Lions fans from our or like the team, and we got to look at them as a team that wants to knock us off,
Mm-hmm.
and can kind of box us out of situations, like I said. So, obviously, Russell Wilson's gotten drunk in the mud over the last, since he made this move to the Broncos, pretty much. Hasn't gone quite as planned, but he's still very, Super Bowl winning quarterback. Has a lot of
Yeah.
football left under his belt, and it ain't no joke. And so, I want to, I don't know. I just want them to come forward and step up for this one. Like you said, hopefully that
Mm-hmm.
home crowd is fired up. Uh, and looking at the team, I think you're actually right about some of their wins. You know, not been, I don't know.
Like you said, it's been getting it
Nobody
done.
jumps off the table.
Right.
Nobody jumps off the table like, okay, they definitely knocked them off. Obviously, the Chiefs, I guess, but Chiefs and division, they're in the same division if I'm not mistaken. So I think
Mm-hmm.
you're going to catch divisional teams from time to time just because how frequently
Right.
you play them, you know them like the back of your hand. Um, but Russell Wilson, very good this year. I mean, 2,600 yards, 23 touchdowns, 8 picks.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll be on the better half of quarterbacks we've played this season. We know how we do against mobile quarterbacks, semi-mobile quarterbacks. Um, you know, Geno Smith and him, I say, not obviously not. He's way better than Geno, but I'll say that the ilk of that type of quarterback, where, and that we don't do good against that. So, I think another guy that can get Hutch, loose if that's still in his head as far as missing tackles, those type of things. So we gotta have a much cleaner game, and 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 sorry, I don't want to go back to the last game, but he at one point we went for it on fourth down, in like outside our own 30-yard line or whatever. We got to stop doing that type of stuff as well. That's giving away
Yeah.
points.
Vanilla play call too. Like it
Yeah,
was.
yeah. So I think we've done that multiple times. We get away from that for a couple of weeks and then we bring it out at the worst time possible. And I was concerned that's just was throwing a white flag up in the game. Um, but I think moving forward, when I say a clean game, I'm including that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Just and we have to sharpen it up for the next couple of games. I'm actually nervous a little bit. If we don't go out and win this one, I wonder what the product will look like going forward. Uh, so I think you have to go get this one because the
Sure.
Vikings, yeah, not the greatest squad, but I think just to make things messy, they wouldn't mind beating us at least once.
Right.
Cowboys, tough, very tough outing on the road, and so I don't know. I think this one's kind of a semi-important one.
Absolutely.
As important as you can get, but in a non-divisional game. But
Yep.
that's kind of what I'm looking at it from that point of view. Just come out clean, man, and pound that rock. You brought up earlier
Yes.
about the play calls. I think just get back to that. We got two horses back there.
Yep.
Um, let them run. Let them. You know,
Yeah.
it's only gonna make everything else work better.
Right. No, like I said, I think Ben Johnson. I'm just kind of looking at some of the scores of these other games. Um, Aaron Glenn, the defense is still kind of reeling. I do feel like he's been doing a great job of like helping us out from like a bend but don't break standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
To a certain extent, you know what I'm saying? At this Packers game on Thanksgiving, they had 20 in the first. They only finished with 29. 28 against the Saints. We were up 21-0. Just to kind of start that game off. I mean, even this Bears game last week, it was 13-13. I'd said it 3 different times here already, but it was, 1 minute in the third. So I think this is where Ben Johnson, we need to really set the tone, run that rock. We've been doing things like run the ball on like, second and long, third and long, kind of catching people off guard. Um, but what's kind of been happening is some of this passing is getting worked in at just really random times. We're starting to, throw the ball on second and short after getting like 5 or 6 on first down.
Yep.
And like I said, I'm around St. Brown. He dropped like 3 or 4 balls, and I know a lot of guys, it wasn't their day yesterday, but I hope, everybody take the opportunity to be like, okay, like had a little rough stretch here, went 2-2. It's not the end of the world. We still managed to steal, some games here and there, but like I said, we're finally back in front of the home crowd, after being away for a couple weeks there. And I just think guys are going to be, very irritable and just ready, to just make up for what they missed out on, this past game as far as getting the job done.
Yeah, no, I hope you're right on that. And go ahead and get that 10th win. We've been eyeing that 10th win for I think this whole month, if I'm not mistaken. Just go ahead and get that 10th win. And just a big month to go. Important month that you're gonna make, at this point in time, you technically haven't accomplished anything.
Right.
It's hot, so I think you got to place another building block in there just to give yourself that confidence back, and give yourself one more inch, one more foot into the playoff picture.
Yep.
Because it would, I don't know, how crazy finicky football is, and week in and week out, who you're gonna have. Week in and week out, you don't know just what crazy shit will conspire.
End of the season, coaches fighting for their jobs, players fighting for their jobs. Like,
yep.
The stakes is getting raised. Like I said, we got teams in our division that looked dead in the water literally a month ago. Now the Vikings are 5-8. Now the Bears are 5-8. Packers are like 7-7. Something like that. So it's just oddly we have 2 more division games. We got the team we haven't seen all season. We got that sandwiched in between that Cowboys game sandwiched between those 2. So just gotta handle business. I feel like just go back to what we do best, right? Like I think last week we've been a little, I know last year, not to keep kind of talking about the past, but I remember when the defense was reeling. I remember them saying how Aaron Glenn might have just simplified things and maybe was just having more of like a vanilla game plan, but having his players do their jobs aggressively, just in their respective position, to where it's like I think we need to reevaluate that side of things and just score some damn points in the third quarter too. Like that's, to me, it blows my mind that we're just like that, in third quarters overall. But yeah, they got opportunity, prime time Saturday night to go there, so out.
Yeah, 100%. I'll be sneaking away from my wife's family Christmas party to go try to watch it. No, the one thing I will say is, you have no update on like Gardner Johnson or
I think he's cleared.
It's back. Clear. Okay, so yeah, so we'll get some juice pumped into this team as well. So you get a couple of those difference makers back at the right time. Let them get their feet wet, like we talked about. I think it's clearly things are still heading in the right direction. But I just I guess I'm just being greedy at this point. But I think why make it difficult? We don't got it. Why why? Like you said, the difference between going out and playing San Fran, Philly, and staying home and playing Seattle or fucking whoever is night and day. So I why make the road difficult?
It's right there.
Make that first game, it's on. And that first game is the easier road is paved now. But no, not to get too much ahead of ourselves, man. We can Broncos aren't all that. I'm still feeling pretty good about it. But
I'm too.
we gotta step it up a little bit, just I don't know. That Bears team ain't a good team, I don't think. And we made them look pretty good.
Yeah.
So
no, for sure. And I think they say, well, I at least saw CJ Gardner Johnson. He kind of been like clearing himself in some instances. but I have seen some reporters that have been like saying that it looks like he might be good to go, if not this week, that next week. So I feel like that'll be a good shot in the arm, overall to, if anything, give the D line an extra second maybe in coverage, here and there on a couple different downs, couple different plays. So yeah, you want to start out with the kick off with score prediction, kick us off with that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 27-17.
Okay.
Um, Lions pull it out. I think I think we will get back to the bread and butter of the run game. I think we will. Hutch is overdue a sack. If nothing else,
Yeah.
you sent me that screen. I think it was you sent me the screenshot
All
where
the
he only
pressures.
had like 5.5 sacks, but he had it's like third in pressures, third in quarterback contacts. It's like so
He got
he's
two coming
overdue.
this
He's
week.
overdue a
Calling
big
it
game.
out.
Yeah. So and just kind of jumpstart everything. Get back to the run game. 15, 20 carries for Montgomery, 15 touches for Gibbs. Hopefully catch the damn ball, man. Hit that corner. But no,
Yeah.
I'm feeling like 27-17.
Yeah. I think my score is gonna be, I think it'll be, let me say 30 to 20. I think we do, we get the run game going, get Golf back. I can see him, 250, a couple touchdowns. I think I'm around St. Brown. I have him a 60, 70-yard day. To I think Aiden Hutchinson gonna be more than motivated to you know, wreak havoc, on the defensive side of the ball and just make up for, some errors that cost us on the last game. So I think we'll 30-20 prime time Saturday night. I think we'll show up the right way.
Yeah, no, I'm feeling that too. And go ahead and get that 10th win, man. That's a good Lions
Yeah.
fan. I'm sure as soon as that happens, it'll be the first time Lions have had 10 wins before December 20th since 1948 or some shit. But no,
Yeah.
it'd be no, I'm feeling it. You know, all headed in a good direction here. And a couple of other things cooking in the background. Golf. You keep winning these games, get us to the playoffs, man. That's the difference between 150, $200 million payday and
Yeah.
uh glorified journeyman the rest of your career. I hate to say that, but
Yeah. That's what we're
a
looking
couple
at, though.
couple of other, you know, you know, uh we got some other couple of storylines as well. I'm feeling a big game now.
For sure. Yeah. One step,
Sure.
a couple steps closer to that division championship. I can't, I'm be buy that t-shirt as soon as the clock hits zeros, as soon as we clinch. So something I've been looking forward to and keeping an eye on the last couple weeks, just what we need to do and how we need to handle business to get there. So go Lions, and be back with y'all next week.
Yes, sir. Peace.